He looked me straight in the eyes at dinner and said it again. "Please pass the salt, Anastasia." He didn't say it like a dad making a polite request. He said it with purpose, with weight, like a line drawn in the sand. And I knew, in that moment, this wasn't about salt. This was about control. So I passed the salt, and I said, "Sure, George." He froze. His eyes darkened. His mouth tightened. And just like that, the entire table went cold. He said I was being disrespectful. But for the past 2 years, what has he been? My name is Anna. I'm 16. And this story isn't about a rebellious teenager acting out. It's about the power of names, the memories we carry, the battles we choose, and how sometimes even love can become a battlefield, because I didn't ask to be born with a name that doesn't feel like mine. But I'm asking to be heard when I say what does. When I was little, Anastasia was my name. Everyone said it was beautiful, elegant, classic, the kind of name parents dream of. And maybe that's what it was for mine. A dream. A name that held meaning for them. A symbol of the baby girl they imagined when they held me in the hospital for the first time. But names aren't just sounds. They become vessels. They collect everything. The way you feel when you hear them. The moments they show up in. The chapters they define. And for me, Anastasia became a prison. Between the ages of 5 and 13, I lived under that name, like it was a weight around my neck. That was the era of my worst anxiety. Panic attacks, constant fear. I couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, couldn't be a kid. And every time someone called me Anastasia, it felt like I was being dragged back into that darkness, back to the girl who couldn't cope. Therapy helped. So did medication. Over time, I began to reclaim myself, piece by piece. And when I was ready to move forward, I chose a new name, not a new identity, just a version that finally felt like me. Anna. Short, clear, gentle. I didn't demand the world to change. I still let my parents introduce me as Anastasia around relatives. I wasn't militant about it. I knew the name mattered to them, so I made space for that. Slips didn't bother me. But when it came to my daily life, my friendships, the person I was trying to become, I was Anna. And almost everyone respected that, except him, my dad, George. He calls me Anastasia, like it's a challenge, like saying Anna would be surrender. At first, I thought it was habit, a slip. But over time, it became clear. It wasn't a mistake. It was a message. He'd wait until family dinner. He'd look me in the eye and say, "Anastasia, can you pass the butter?" Or, "Anastasia, did you do your homework?" Always formal, always cold. It wasn't just what he said. It was how he said it. Like he was proving a point. Like he was reminding me who I was. Or maybe who I used to be. I started gently correcting him. Anna, Dad. Sometimes I'd smile, trying to keep the peace. Sometimes I'd ignore it and respond anyway, just to avoid another fight. But the fights came anyway. We've had this same argument more times than I can count. I've explained what the name brings up for me. The memories, the anxiety, the reasons I let go of it. I've told him that Anna feels like me, not just in a stylistic way, but in a deeply personal, hard-earned, I fought for this part of my healing kind of way. He doesn't hear me. He says it's just a nickname. He says, Anastasia is your name. I gave it to you. And I've tried. God, I've tried. I told him if he doesn't like Anna, I'd be fine with Anya, Asia, Annie, Stacia, Stacy, even my middle name. Anything but Anastasia. But he refuses. It's like he thinks giving in would mean losing. And yet somehow, when I said, "Sure, George," I was the one being disrespectful. He exploded, said I crossed a line, that I was trying to humiliate him, that no daughter should speak to her father that way. But what line did I cross? I called him by his legal name, the name his parents gave him, just like he keeps calling me the name he gave me. Isn't that the same logic? Apparently not. Because when I said, "George," again, he stood up from the table and walked away. My mom followed. Later, she told me I was being immature, that I should let it go, that it's not worth fighting over a name. But they don't hear me. They hear Anna and think it's a phase, a teenage whim, something I'll grow out of. They don't understand that this is the first time in my life I've felt like I'm becoming someone I actually want to be, that I'm finally breathing outside of panic, that Anna is not just a cute nickname. It's the first word that ever made me feel whole. And every time he insists on using the name I asked to leave behind, it feels like a denial of that wholeness, a refusal to let me grow. He says, "It's not a dead name. You're not transgender." As if only in those circumstances do names carry emotional weight. As if my reasons aren't serious enough. As if identity only counts when it fits someone else's definition of struggle. But this isn't about gender. It's about respect. It's about listening when someone tells you who they are. And when you ignore that, on purpose, when you double down and use that name like a weapon, you're not being a parent. You're being a bully. I love my dad. I really do. He's done so much for me. He's given me an amazing childhood in so many ways. He tries hard. He's not a bad man. But he's wrong here. And it hurts. Because if someone can see your pain, if you've told them over and over what something means to you, and they still choose the path that makes it worse, what does that say? It says, my authority matters more than your autonomy. And that's what makes this so hard. It's not just about a name. It's about being heard, seen, known. He says he'll call me Anna if I ever transition, because then it would matter. But because this is just a preference, he won't budge. He doesn't get it. It's not about legality. It's about dignity. He wants me to call him Dad, not George, because that's what he feels comfortable with. Because Dad is more than a name to him. It's a role, an identity, a bond. So what makes it so hard for him to understand that Anna means the same to me? So, am I the asshole? Was I wrong to give him a taste of his own logic? Was it disrespectful? Or just finally standing up for myself? Because if the people who raised you can't respect who you are, who will? And if love only exists when you comply, is that really love? He called me Anastasia to make a point, so I called him George, to make mine. Sometimes the deepest battles happen in the smallest moments. A word at the dinner table, a name spoken too sharply, a silence that echoes louder than any scream. This story isn't just about a father and daughter arguing over names. It's about identity. It's about healing. And it's about power. Who gets to decide who you are? What we call each other matters. Names carry history, pain, pride, survival. And when someone asks us to honor theirs, it's not a burden. It's a privilege. This father may believe he's holding on to tradition, but what he's really holding on to is control. And his daughter, she's not lashing out. She's reaching out, asking to be recognized. Not as a memory, or a projection, or a perfect version of who he wanted her to be, but as Anna, just Anna. To everyone listening, think about the names you use, the ones you honor, The ones you ignore. Are you calling someone what they need to hear? Or what you want to say? And now, we want to hear from you. Was she wrong to call her dad George? Or was it the only language he seemed to understand? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. This has been AITA Stories. Thanks for listening.